Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Cloud and AI Analytics. Hope everyone is doing good. I'm Vignesh and in this video we will continue to explore the next set of HashiCorp's Terraform Associate MCQs. So without any further delay, let's get started. So the first question is, a fellow developer on your team is asking for some help in refactoring their Terraform code. So as part of their application's architecture, they are going to tear down an existing deployment managed by Terraform and deploy a new one. However, there is a server resource named AWS underscore instance.ubuntu one they would like to keep to perform some additional analysis. So what command should be used to tell Terraform to no longer manage the resource? So in this question, we have to focus on the command that should tell Terraform to no longer manage this particular resource, that is AWS underscore instance.ubuntu one. So option A, Terraform apply remove AWS instance.ubuntu one. Option B, Terraform state remove AWS underscore instance.ubuntu one. Option C, Terraform plan remove AWS instance.ubuntu one. And option D, Terraform delete AWS underscore instance.ubuntu one. Now pause the video, go through the question again, go through the options also, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. Instead of revealing the right answer, what I'm gonna do is we'll be going through the option. From the option, we'll try to identify the right one. So option A, Terraform apply remove AWS instance.ubuntu one. There is no remove command in Terraform apply. So this could not be the right one. Option B, Terraform state remove AWS underscore instance.ubuntu. So this particular command removes the resource from the Terraform state file, but it does not destroy the actual infrastructure. That is what the Terraform state remove will do. So this option seems to be the right one, but we will explore further. Now we are going to discuss the option C, that is Terraform plan remove AWS instance.ubuntu one. So Terraform plan basically generates a plan but does not modify the state or manage any sort of resources. So this could not be the right option. And the final option, which is Terraform delete AWS underscore instance.ubuntu one. So in Terraform, there is no command called Terraform delete. So this could not be the right option. We can safely remove option A, option C, and option D, and we can finalize the option B, which is Terraform state remove AWS underscore instance.ubuntu one. This particular command allows Terraform to stop managing that resource while keeping it in the place. So this resource will remain running in AWS, but Terraform will no longer track or manage it in future. Now moving on to the next question, how would you reference the name value of the second instance of this resource? So resource Google Compute instance and the local name is web, count as 2, and the name of your Google Compute instance will be Terraform Flask App 0, and the next instance would be Terraform Flask App 1. So basically this particular block is going to create two Google Compute instance in your cloud platform. Now we will go through the options. Option A, element Google Compute instance.web. Option B, Google Compute instance.web.name. And option C, Google Compute instance.web1. And option D, Google Compute instance.web2.name. And option D, Google Compute instance.web start.name. So now pause the video, go through the questions and also options and come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer for this particular question is option B, which is Google Compute instance.web1.name. Now we will try to understand this Google Compute instance.web1. It basically refers to the second instance of the Google Compute instance resource, because indexing in Terraform will basically start in 0. So 1 refers to the second item in the list and 0 refers to the first item in the list. And dot name basically acts as the attribute, name of the attribute of that particular instance. So the option B is the correct one. Now we will move on to the next question. You can configure Terraform to log to a file using the tflog environment variable. I'll repeat the question. Observe it closely. You can configure Terraform to log to a file using the tflog environment variable. Basically, the question is, we have to log a file using this tflog environment variable. Is it possible or not? Option A, true. Option B, false. Now pause the video, go through the question again and also go through the option and then come up with the answer. So the right answer is option B, false. So the tf underscore log environment variable by itself does not configure Terraform to a log file, but it only sets the log level. That is trace, debug, info, var, and error. To actually log to a file, we have to use tf underscore log underscore path. Now moving on to the next question. Which syntax checks errors when you run Terraform validate? Option A. The code contains tab for indentation instead of spaces. Option B. There is a missing value for a variable. Option C. The state file does not match the current infrastructure. And option D. None of the above. Pause the video, go through the questions, go through the options, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer to this question is option D. None of the above. So basically we have to understand what Terraform validate do. So this command checks whether a Terraform configuration is syntactically valid and internally consistent. And it does not do access or compare the real infrastructure, or it does not read or require variable values, or it does not interact with any state files. So the option D is correct. Moving on to the next question. A resource block is shown in this page. How would you reference the attribute name of this resource in HCL? So basically resources Kubernetes underscore namespace and the local values example. In metadata we are given name equal to example. Option data.kubernetes underscore namespace dot example. Option B resource.kubernetes namespace dot example dot name. Option C Kubernetes namespace example dot metadata 0 dot name. And option D Kubernetes underscore namespace dot example dot name. Now pause the video, go through the question, go through the options, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right option is option C Kubernetes underscore namespace dot example dot metadata 0 dot name. So this Kubernetes underscore namespace, this basically refers to the resource type, and the example, this is the name which we assign to our specific resource block, and the dot metadata, basically this access the metadata block within the resource, and 0 basically the first one, and dot name, this finally accesses the name attribute within the metadata block. So the right answer is option C. Now moving on to the next question. What does Terraform destroy do? Option A destroys the Terraform state file, leaving the infrastructure intact. Option B destroys all the Terraform code files in the current directory and leaves the state file intact. Option C destroys all infrastructure in the Terraform state file. And option D destroys all infrastructure in the configured Terraform provider. So go pause the video, go through the question, understand the options, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer to this question is option C, destroy all infrastructure in the Terraform state file. So Terraform destroy basically uses the Terraform state file to identify the infrastructure it has created and then destroys. Basically deletes all the resources in the respective cloud provider. Now we will discuss why the other options are incorrect. Option A destroys the Terraform state file, leaving the infrastructure intact. It doesn't touch the state file directly. It destroys only the actual resources in your cloud provider. And the next option is destroy all Terraform code files in the current directory and leaves the state file intact. Obviously, this is also incorrect. Terraform never deletes any sort of .tf files. And the option D destroys all the infrastructure in the configured Terraform provider. Basically, this option is also incorrect. It only destroys infrastructure tracked in the state file, not everything in the provider account. So the right option is option C. Moving on to the next one. Child module can always access variables declared in its parent module. Option A, true. Option B, false. Now pause the video, go through the questions and go through the options and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right option to this particular question is option B, false. A child module cannot automatically access variable declared in its parent module. Variables must be explicitly passed from the parent module to the child module using the module block. Now moving on to the next question. Which of the following is not a benefit of adopting infrastructure as a code? Option A, interpolation. Option B, reusability of code. Option C, versioning. And option D, automation. This is very basic. You will be able to answer it very easily. But still, pause the video, go through the question, go through the option, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer to this question is option A, interpolation. So interpolation is not a benefit but a feature of adopting infrastructure as a code tools like Terraform. Reusability of a code, it is a major benefit of adopting infrastructure as a code. The same goes with versioning and the same goes with automation. So the right answer to this question is option A, interpolation. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following commands would you use to access all of the attributes and details of a resource managed by Terraform? Option A, Terraform state list. Option B, Terraform state show. Option C, Terraform get, and option D, Terraform state list. Now pause the video, go through the questions and go through the options and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right option is option B, which is Terraform state show. So what does this command do? Basically, Terraform state show, if you provide the resource name, it will display all the attributes and details of a specific resource in the Terraform state. And now we will discuss why the other options are incorrect. Option A, Terraform state list. It will list all the resources tracked in the Terraform state but does not show any details. And the next command is C, Terraform get. Basically, it will download and install modules mentioned in your configuration. It has nothing to do with resource attributes or state file. And option D, Terraform stateless. This is just a repeated option. Option A and option D is same. Now, moving on to the next question. How would you be able to reference an attribute from the vSphere underscore data center data source for use with the data center underscore ID argument within the vSphere underscore folder resource in the following configuration? Just take a look at this image. Now we will discuss the options. Option A, data.dc.id. Option B, data.vsphere underscore data center.dc. Option C, vsphere underscore data center.dc.id. And option D, data.vsphere underscore data center.dc.id. Now pause the video, go through the questions, go through the option and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer to this question is option D, which is data.vsphere underscore data center.dc.id. Ideally, when referencing data sources in Terraform, the correct syntax is data.providertype.name.attribute. So when you're referencing the data, you should have this data.vsphere underscore data center. Here you can see data.vsphere underscore data center.dc.id. So the right option is option D. And now moving on to the next question. Which command will migrate your current state file to the new GCS remote backend? And here you can see Terraform backend is GCS. This is our bucket name and the region. Now we will discuss the options. Option A, Terraform state. Option B, Terraform init. Option C, Terraform refresh, and option D, Terraform push. Pause the video, go through the questions, go through the options and then come up with the answer. This is basically a very simple question and you will not take much time, I know, but still. So that's it. The right answer to this question is option B, Terraform init. So when you change your backend configuration from local to GCS bucket, from S3 to GCS bucket, the first command you should execute is Terraform init. So basically when you're executing this, Terraform will detect the backend change and it will prompt you to migrate the current state file to new backend, that is from your local to GCS bucket. Now we will discuss why the other options are incorrect. Option A, Terraform state. Basically this is used for inspecting or modifying the state file manually. And the option C, which is Terraform refresh, it will update the state file by querying the real infrastructure. So it doesn't migrate any state. And the next one is option D, which is Terraform push. This command is already deprecated. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, please post that in the comment section. I'll take a look at it and reply to it as soon as possible. Please do like, comment, share and subscribe to Cloud and AI Analytics. And don't forget to click on the bell icon. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, it's bye from Vignesh. Happy learning.